should there be a ban on the team? Should the players be named? Against the ban, presumably for the players not being named, Atul Wasan, former Indian Test cricketer. Sumanth C Raman always takes a contrarian view. I don't know why, very often, sometimes goes against logic on this one. And V. Krishnaswamy, senior sports writer and commentator. I'm surprised if you stand with all the others today, Krishna. But Shishir Hattangadi is going to be joining us in some time. Kishore Bhimani is beaming because he finds himself alone on the debate, but no, you're not. Himanshu Chaturvedi, making his debut appearance on the Newshour tonight, is founder of the Lokdeeksha Sports Law Initiative, joining us from Delhi. I'd like to start with Himanshu Chaturvedi because he's coming for the first time tonight. You can tweet with the hashtag Name Them All. Name them all. And when we say name them all, name all the cricketers, all the officials, name them all. Big shot, small fry. Don't spare any of them. If others could be named, name the big shot cricketers. Tell us whether there are any celebrity cricketers involved. Tell us if there are any cricketers with family names involved. Right? Tell us if there are any cricketers who have their flunkies in the team, who do exactly as they say, who are involved. And tell us if there are two teams where these evils have existed. Name them all. Himanshu Chaturvedi, what do you think? Let's start with you, then it's an open debate.
Thank you, Arnab, and thanks with being with you here. Yes, there are big names and celebrity names, and I think it'll be a little going overboard. For at least the captain of the team, I've been harping for about a year and a half. Mr. MS Dhoni, I've been talking about him almost on all channels across. Number two, as the Mudgal report itself says that there is a player who's not from Rajasthan Royal, who is not from Chennai. But since it is still in the court, I can say could be somebody from the Punjab team. I will not name the player.
Yeah, don't name.
Celebrity player.
I'm telling you, let's set the rules here tonight. I'm not naming. I know names. You all know the names that are in circulation. I know the names. You know the names. Krishnaswamy knows the names, and I can suggest, but I won't go beyond that with due reference to the court, because the court can decide on that. But on the principle, there are people who are scared, aren't they, Himanshu? There are people who are running so scared tonight about being named.
Of course, there are at least 4 main players, those who are scared and they're not going to have a sleeping night. And let me tell you one thing, they are not the rotten eggs, they are the golden eggs of Srinivasan.
Oh, yes.
They are the golden eggs. The 9 of them are golden eggs for him. And he is the golden goose sitting on those 9 eggs. Those names have not been revealed.
Well, I say, if people are running scared, Sumanth C Raman wants to come into the debate, I say scare the living daylights out of these people. Because if they've done what we believe they've done, they cheated the game of cricket. Scare the living daylights out of them. Why shouldn't we, Mr. Raman? Why shouldn't these players be named?
Okay, Arnab, let me first clarify what you said about my position right at the start. I am all for the players and everybody involved being named. What I do not support is a ban on the individual teams. And
why?
There are a variety of reasons
Why?
for that. Very simply, world over in most sports where players have been caught fixing, including football around the world, the players are suspended, given life bans or whatever, huge penalties are imposed on the team.
The
team
is the owner of the team inflicted and the president of the BCCI.
No, there's a very valid reason for that. One minute. There's a very valid reason for that. And that is, a team is made up of more than the fixers. The innocent people who probably didn't know what was happening should not be made to suffer. The fans should not be made to suffer. The sponsors should not be made to suffer. All of them may not have known what was going on.
I'm sorry, this is a feeble argument.
Are there in a team.
It's a feeble argument.
No, you cannot.
It's a feeble,
this is how it is done in sports the world over.
It's a feeble and self-destructive argument. Don't tell me what happens the world over. I'll tell you what happens in India. There's a man called Sundararaman. There is a man called Sundararaman. 1 second, Mr. Sumanth Raman. Mr. Sumanth Raman, there is a man whose name sounds like you but who's not you, and you should be grateful it's not you. His name is Sumanth Raman. Sundararaman. He's the chief operating officer of the IPL. 1 second, Mr. Raman, calm down. The man is overall in charge of the league. He's been named by the Mudgal committee and the Supreme Court had sent a notice. I feel this raises serious questions about the credibility of the league itself. Not just the two teams.
Arnab,
right?
Look,
No, no, what are you, who are you fighting for?
Things. One is the way, no. 1 minute. Now, are you suggesting that if there are 3 rotten eggs, then all the eggs in the basket get broken? What happens to those who are innocent, who don't know what is going on?
Yes, the hen is rotten.
Them.
Oh, please.
Am I saying the hen is rotten?
No.
It's not the egg.
1 minute. No, I'm not.
Because I believe in the rules, unlike you, Mr. Raman. Kishore Bhimani, why aren't you coming to the debate? Atul Wasan, are you also having sleepless nights? Shishir Hattangadi, welcome. And Krishnaswamy, I'm coming to you. Kishore Bhimani first. Kishore Bhimani on the other side.
Very well.
1 sec, Kishore Bhimani.
If Mr. Raman gives me a chance to speak.
Go ahead.
I would like to say that we are talking about, banning the teams. A very brief comment that it is not just 3 or 4 rotten eggs. It is the ownership. It's the principal functionaries of the team who have interacted with it.
Yep.
Whether it is Mr. Kundra and the Rajasthan Royals, whether it is Mr. Srinivasan, Gurunath Meiyappan and the team. So it is not just 3 individual rotten eggs.
They're not.
It's the entire chicken coop that seems to be rotten. If that is so, then they should be obviously banned. The whole thing, the IPL rests on such slender foundation that if those foundations are challenged by dishonest people who don't have the value of cricket or the traditions of cricket in their hearts, I don't think those teams remain there. It's not just a couple of guys who are trying to do something. We saw this in South Africa.
Why are you batting for the accused?
That famous book written by Suizan.
No, I feel Sumanth Raman is batting for the accused.
It's batting for the accused. It is
of
batting
course
for
you are.
Principle.
No, of course
you are. It has nothing to do with Mr. whether it's
principle. I'll tell you the principle.
So basically what you're saying
about the principle?
If Rahul Dravid had been
what
playing,
about
Rahul
the
Dravid
principle?
would have been
Shishir
eliminated
Hattangadi,
from
welcome to the debate. I'm going across to Mr. Krishnaswamy and Atul Wasan, who both seem to be a little confused on what line to take here. I'd advise both of them take the line of morals, integrity and ethics here. CSK cannot escape responsibility. Okay, fine, you nod your head. Otherwise, CSK cannot escape responsibility. Because while testifying before the Mudgal committee, its officials and members, including your friend, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, as per the Mudgal committee report, rushed to defend Gurunath Meiyappan as a mere enthusiast when the facts showed otherwise. Atul Wasan, how can CSK escape responsibility after what has happened?
Well, on the...
Why should it not be suspended?
Okay. On the outset, I must clarify that I'm all for guilty being named and the system to be clean. Having clarified the rhetoric that whatever I'm hearing, cricket being a gentleman's game and everything, we all know that. Keeping that aside, we should not question the collective wisdom of the Mudgal committee and the Honorable Supreme Court in treading
There are 9 people, 9 cricketers there who's questioning the Mudgal committees. I am going by what the Mudgal committee has said.
I am all for naming these players. Let me finish. Please let me finish. So I understand your point. I've got it now. I just want to answer this. I think the way they've gone forward and not clearing the names, they know that in the case of, let's example, Vijender Singh, his name, he was made out to be the drug lord for 4 days in the news. What happened then? You just put a monkey on the back of somebody who probably will be cleared by the lower courts because it's
you're hiding behind some legal process out there,
He's going to say that I'm innocent and he's going to go back to it.
What is this?
What?
Your argument is that the players are not being convicted. That's a laughable argument. It's a ridiculous argument. Was Mohammed...
No. Yes, of course.
It's a ridiculous argument.
Let's hear what the report has to say about it.
This is a Suresh Kalmadi kind of argument.
And as long as the players... Okay,
I'm all for banning.
I'm all for banning CSK. But the IPL Governing Council must come out saying that all the players will be taken care of and new franchise will be found. And you can take CSK to cleaners for all I care.
Himanshu's taking you on. Krishnaswamy coming to you. Himanshu raised his hand first. Himanshu.
Are we... Atul, as a player, do let me know that you have an anti-corruption council. What does it do? Each time 2 CBI officers, those who investigated, have been chosen to be ICC and BCCI heads of ACS units. So the seriousness in the board to catch the corruption was never there.
Why are we being so...
It would have been nailed right there and then and finished.
Being so naive that
Naive.
in spite of the best efforts and anti-corruption and all, there will be some people who will try and push the envelope and find a way to cheat. And once it happens, we must have a system
where are the
to
efforts?
find them and punish them.
I
Why
have
are
an
you so
advertisement
aghast that why this happened?
No, you
this
took
and that.
12 years.
Everybody is not.
BCCI took
सावन
12
के
years
अंधे को
to form an
सारा हरा हरा
SCSU.
नजर आता है. That's the problem with you all.
What do you mean with you all?
No.
Who's you all? One second. Atul Wasan, who's you all? By the way, explain to me who's you all?
You all means in everybody
You all
who's
we
paying
who
for
are not
blood,
part of the power
everybody
circuit
who's
of
on the
Indian
line.
cricket.
I agree with there are
We
few
the
bad
viewers,
apples.
we the fans, we the
There are
people who are
few-
cheated, you all.
Let's agree. There are few bad apples.
There is
Let's
few
find
bad
them.
apples?
Let's punish them. Let's make a template for the future. that if
Krishnaswamy,
you do something wrong,
Krishnaswamy
this
and
will happen to you.
Kri-
Let's move on.
Krishnaswamy, who's got? No, we are not going to move on. Krishnaswamy, Shishir Hattangadi, welcome to the debate. Krishnaswamy
Have some
first.
patience. Have some
Listen,
patience.
there is
In
so
the
much of
system,
cacophony, I just can't hear
there is
myself.
no
I mean,
bigger authority
if
than the Supreme Court
Atul,
in the
can you
country.
allow me to
Let's
speak?
actually
Arnab,
hear
can you
them
allow
out.
me to speak? Yeah, thank you very much, gentlemen. First and foremost, Arnab, I don't think you knew what my position was going to be, because I certainly want each and every person, all 13 names, to be made public.
Yeah.
If not immediately, maybe at some point of time when the court feels it is in a position to name and shame the guilty. Right
Let's
now,
have
the
some
four
patience. Let's
big
have some
people
faith in the
have been
Supreme
named.
Court.
They have to answer within the next 10 days. There is a cricket match going on simultaneously. If there are players within the Indian team at that point of time, I should either stop those players and stop the cricket match itself. In fact, if you need to clean up IPL fully, then you should actually take time off and even suspend IPL for 1 year, clean the whole.
It's not about
scenario,
IPL
and
alone.
then try and put some system into place.
It's not
Right
about
now,
IPL
there is no
alone.
system. Everybody
It's not
seems to
about
be
IPL
suffering.
alone. 1 minute.
Last 1.5 years,
Krishnaswamy.
we've been having this.
Okay, let me ask one question to
Finally,
Krishnaswamy.
reached the
Let me
Supreme
ask one
Court,
question.
And the Supreme Court itself
Let
has
me ask
found
one question.
4 people.
Can I
and
ask
they've
something?
named them. When the Supreme Court names people, it obviously means that they've found some wrongdoing, some amount of impropriety. And remember, one of these names is not just a person who wants to be the BCCI chief, but he's already the ICC chief.
But what about the
So that means
players?
the entire game, not just in India, but global cricket is under threat right now.
No. Why? Okay, once a counter question wants to be asked.
See,
Once
again,
again,
we're still speculating.
Mr. Sumanth Raman, we're not speculating. My question is simple.
The
Shishir
Supreme Court
Hattangadi.
has named these
And we
people, the
already
Supreme Court,
shamed
none less.
These 4 people enough. We've already
But
shamed,
why
we
should
don't even know
see
what the evidence
Supreme
is.
Court doesn't take names just like that. They take the names
I want
unless
to
and
ask
until
one
they are pretty
question.
sure
I agree.
about
Let me
what
ask
they
one.
have
I'm not
seen
accused- I'm
or
not
what the
accused.
committee has
Can I
found.
try?
They
All
wouldn't
I'm
be
trying to
taking
People are
names.
asking
All
for
I'm trying
IPL to
make
be
is, why should the
suspended, to be
players then be
banned.
special?
I'm not asking I want the IPL not to be held for 1 year so that the whole system can be
can I
cleaned.
ask a
Whoever is
question,
wrong,
Arnab?
put them out forever.
One minute.
You came again.
Shishir Hattangadi next.
Okay.
Shishir Hattangadi should come in next. 1 second. By the way, let us destroy this ridiculous argument that these players haven't been convicted. There is nothing. This is kite flying, etc. It's not. It's not. At one stage, the allegations against these players were unverified, but the Supreme Court in May this year, hello, Mr. Atul Wasan, come back to the real world. In May this year, empowered the Mudgal committee further to probe them, including giving the committee powers of search and powers of seizure. These allegations are no longer cases of kite flying. They have been probed.
Yes.
And my question, as a cricket fan, Shishir Hattangadi, is simply this. What if one of these
what
players...
has been
what if
seized
one of
so
these
far?
players... Or
What
2
has
of
been
these
seized so far?
players,
Who's been arrested
or
so
3
far?
of these players,
Answer
or
this.
4 of these players, or 4.5 of these players, what if some of these people are playing for India?
Tomorrow.
What if some of these players are playing for India?
Absolutely.
Will I allow them to play for my country,
Absolutely.
wear my cricket colours, my country's colours, take the country for a ride and hope to get away with it? Where is punishment for them?
If there is any
People like Sumanth C Raman will even then
Absolutely.
be arguing for them.
Arnab, very
Give you an
quickly.
example, you know.
I know I'm not
Shishir
going to get too much
Hattangadi.
of a chance here.
You've heard.
But if I'm allowed to
heard the
speak,
story.
if I'm allowed to speak for 1 minute.
No, Shishir
We're talking
Hattangadi,
about
Shishir Hattangadi,
tainted
please.
Players. We're talking about tainted teams.
Shishir, speak.
Can I just make a point, please, gentlemen?
How can you allow-
I just want to
how
make
can you
one
allow
point.
players
You know, you
to
have teams that have flouted payment rules, and they've been banned. They've been thrown out. They've been shown the door.
the players were not to blame, but you still took a decision on showing them the door because they flouted the rules. Now, if an owner has flouted the rules, why are you feeling so sympathetic about players? It's the team that is at fault, and so they should be shown the door accordingly, as they've done with teams that have flouted payment rules.
Please point out any instance. If you take
let's
Italian
not talk
football,
about global rules. This is IPL we are talking about.
For fixing, teams are never banned. Excuse me. Take Italian football. There is no greater place where you fix games than Italian football.
If you wanted to do that, you should not have had the bylaws. You should not have had the rules and regulations. Don't talk to me about Italian football, please, Mr. Raman.
But they were not banned.
Mr. Raman, which world are you in, Italy or India?
Can I get the
No, which world are you in, Italy or India? Next you'll be saying, Mr. Raman, 1 second. Mr. Raman, by this logic, you'll be saying that when you go into the Grand Casino room in Monte Carlo, you play by the rules of the casino. Cricket is not a casino, Mr. Raman.
There is enough reason to ban many of the teams. We're not talking only of one or two teams, Arnab. There is enough reason. If we are going to really stretch the envelope of it to try and see how there are enforcement directorate investigations going on against the teams.
Everybody else should be banned.
Arnab, can I say something?
No, I'm not. Himanshu, 1 second.
Can I say something?
Himanshu, let's be very clear on
everybody
this.
Should
I'm
be banned.
talking about the principle of... No, I'm just saying the principle of it is that if there is evidence against 2 or 3 or 4 people...
Should I show you the rule here for administrators?
What rule?
Put them on right back.
What rule? Himanshu Chaturvedi is taking you on. Himanshu Chaturvedi, please. Himanshu Chaturvedi. Yes, Mr. Chaturvedi.
This is rule 6.
Mr. Chaturvedi.
This is the rule 6 written here.
Yeah.
Any administrator engaged into any of these activities, please focus this. And then I'll show you the penalty. What is the penalty?
Yeah, show it on screen.
Mr. Srinivasan has this direct penalty which he is trying to save. Now see this 6.1.
1 minute.
This is the penalty clause. You will be banned from everything for life.
It is
here. Please see this. Sumanth Raman.
Could be banned.
6.1.1 will make sure that he never enters ICC or BCCI office.
Yeah.
This is why this gentleman is playing the entire game. That if it is the Chennai King as a owner he is caught, then he will not be allowed to ever enter any of the cricketing arena. This is the reason that Mr. Srinivasan is putting all his life to this particular case.
All we are saying is
Sanjay Hegde, do you concede here?
That's all.
Do you concede here, Sanjay Hegde, that those, Mr. Bhimani coming to you by the way, but before that Sanjay Hegde, do you concede here CSK should be suspended, other teams involved should be suspended, the players should all be named, let there be a complete public cleanup? That seems to be the only alternative left. Mr. Hegde, take a position.
I concede nothing. I say that the Supreme Court is going through a process. The process is this, that it has a report. Of that report, what it has to do is the Supreme Court's job. Now the Supreme Court has seen it fit to first concentrate on the administrators. That's a very obvious reason, because as the saying goes, a fish rots from the head. If you solve the problem of administration, most of the other problems will fall in place.
And what about the 9
Then as far as the players are concerned, let me also remind you that there is no allegation about any particular player which is being investigated.
Wrong.
This starts from Gurunath Meiyappan being caught betting. To avoid that, Mr. Srinivasan disowned his son-in-law. He put in a team of retired judges to investigate. Those judges gave a report that was unsatisfactory. The matter reached the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has put in its own set and own panel. Now, having got a report, what is to be done with it, it is for the Supreme Court to take a call. Now, let me tell you also why 4 people have been named. The reason 4 people have been named is that at this stage, the Supreme Court says, before I do anything about you, is there anything that you have to say? That goes from a rule of law that you do not do anything without hearing the other side. We go back to the
Mr. Hegde,
even God.
Mr. Hegde, you are wrong on all counts.
Do you want to say something?
You are wrong on all counts.
Therefore, first let us handle the manageable.
No, what is manageable?
Go after the head.
What is man?
You go after the heads.
Mr.
Ask
Hegde,
them,
you
do
are
you have
wrong.
anything to say? If you ban them,
Mr.
fine.
Wrong. Mr. Hegde, you are completely wrong. I'm sorry, I did not mean to call you Mr. Wrong, but Mr. Hegde, you are completely wrong. I was about to say, Mr. Wrong, you are completely Mr. Hegde, but I didn't mean that. Now, Mr. Hegde, you are completely wrong. And I'll tell you why you are
right. I'll
tell you why you were wrong. You know, because there were 3 names of 3 players which were inadvertently taken by the judge before the court ordered that their names be withheld. Now, why were 3 names taken, Mr. Hegde? That means there are names which
inadvertently, as you yourself said it, and now, and please, the names are also such innocuous names.
Innocuous?
That I have not heard.
What is the definition of innocuous?
As a cricket lover,
No, they're
haven't
not.
heard too
Innocuous.
much about
They
them
are
being
not,
involved in
Mr. Hegde.
anything.
Innocuous.
No, just a minute.
No,
I'll tell you what I mean by innocuous.
There are
Let me tell you what I mean by
They're not
innocuous.
innocuous.
What is
Let
innocuous?
me tell you what I mean by innocuous. They may have been summoned as
what does he mean
witnesses.
by saying innocuous?
They may have been investigated. There may be something against them. There may not be something
Can I say
against them.
something, Arnab?
The Supreme
Rubbish.
Court opened. Let me give you the
Arnab,
sequence
can
of
I-
events of what happened in the Supreme Court. Let me give you the sequence. The Supreme Court opened the envelope.
Sir, simple
While
question.
it was reading,
Sir, simple question.
these names were also there
Sir,
in
simple
part of the report. Then it decided no. It wanted to give out a redacted copy, and only those whom it specifically wanted to hear from.
Well, one second. Mr. You're losing me, sir, now. Mr. Hegde, one second. Mr. Hegde, first of all, I take strong objection to your definition of the word innocuous. Next time, you will say something such as, yes, the person was murdered, but it was Mr. Bhimani. Mr. Hegde will say, but it was an innocuous murder.
No, Mr. Bhimani.
That's the kind of argument that Mr. Hegde uses. Mr. Bhimani. Mr. Bhimani on the debate now. Mr. Bhimani from Kolkata. Mr. Bhimani.
Just 1 minute. I would like to answer Mr. Hegde very briefly in saying that he said that he found there was some trouble with Mr. Meiyappan. His father-in-law, Mr. Srinivasan, then, according to Mr. Hegde, brought in a couple of legal luminaries to investigate him. Absolutely wrong. Mr. Srinivasan tried his best to defend Mr. Meiyappan. He tried to defend Mr. Meiyappan also by appointing his own judges. He appointed Mr. Shivlal Yadav as a person to succeed him because he's his own man. He made sure until somebody stepped in and said, no, this will not do this insider trading of getting your own judges. We will get it will go to Supreme Court. That is when Mudgal Commission was appointed. That is when things went far. It is not a small matter. It's not 3 rotten apples. The whole orchard is messy. It's got worm eaten, and it cannot be cleaned up just by banning 3 people.
Yes, and I repeat the point. Krishnaswamy.
You have to ban. You can't ban 3 people. If there are 9 players, and if they're found, no matter how small the misdemeanor, how big the misdemeanor, it's a misdemeanor. If you've broken the rules, if you breach the regulations, you have to go. And as far as the teams are concerned, I think they also need to go. But I think the whole edifice of IPL, which is now seeming so shaky, that it really we need to take a look at it again. There are 2 teams which are in a mess right now in this betting and fixing, etc. There are a couple of other teams which may or may not have paid their players. Their companies are in a mess. I think the whole edifice is now becoming highly suspect. Maybe it is time to just take a small breather, just like you take a small break, and then come back to IPL in a much stronger fashion.
And Mr. Krishnaswamy, 1 second. Mr. Raman, there is one basic rule.
Put teams out. There is not paying their players. This is surely much bigger wrongdoing.
There is one basic rule of morals we have to stick by. Mr. Raman, listen to me. Mr. Raman, the rule is this. You do the crime, you do the time, and don't tell me they are not convicted. Was Muhammad Azharuddin convicted before his names appeared in 2000? Was Ajay Sharma convicted? Was Hansi Cronje convicted? Listen to me. Was Salim Malik convicted? By the way, Mr. Raman, my question also goes here, and this question is that of trust, ladies and gentlemen. I have decided now to open the phone lines on the Newshour because I'm being overwhelmed by a lot of people who seem to be batting for the players and the teams. I want to know where you stand on this. And my question is, was Srishant convicted? Was Ankit Chavan convicted? Was Ajit Chandila convicted for alleged spot fixing? Did they have to be convicted before the BCCI proceeded to act against them? If conviction is going to be today the gold standard, then tell me, Mr. Srinivasan, was Srishant convicted? Was Ankit Chavan convicted? Was Chandila convicted? Or did you act on the basis of your conviction? They weren't convicted, but their alleged involvement was investigated. Were they did the BCCI take them on because they were not big shots? Or is the BCCI only looking for small fry?
9 players, to the best of our knowledge, there is no FIR has been registered, nothing. It's just in the
well, you know, now you are looking nervous.
About these players.
Now, Shishir Hattangadi,
come out.
Now, Shishir Hattangadi, the tables have turned in this debate. You can tweet with name them all. Shishir Hattangadi, I think Mr. Sumanth C Raman and those with him, Atul Wasan, are losing this debate tonight. What do you think, Shishir Hattangadi? That's why Atul Wasan is also retreated, it appears, on the debate. One second.
Chance to speak. Then
Okay, Atul Wasan says he's not getting a chance to speak. I go to Atul Wasan. Atul Wasan.
Obviously.
Atul Wasan.
You know, let's not, first of all, be naive and question the judgment of Supreme Court and
Who's
say
questioning
that
the
anything
judgment?
is said there inadvertently. Okay,
yeah.
let's not say that. Anyway, but there's a question for a lynch mob, who just wants to burn down the place,
last argument here.
If IPL is suspended and, all the rotten eggs are found, please let me speak. I hope and pray that you let me finish first, Arnab.
That's all right.
So, okay, hypothetically, everything is cleaned up. We start again. And then out of the 2,000 people involved with the players, the families, the owners and everybody, 3 of them are caught betting again. We suspended again. So, what is this? What are we doing? My question is that, okay, unfortunately, we are living in times where even, in the country where even Goddess Sita had to go through Agni Pariksha because Adobe made a loose remark. So, if the players have to live by it, go ahead and do that. Get on, do that. But there is a system in place.
Atul, can I come in?
Atul, 1 second. Himanshu is taking you on. Himanshu taking you on, Atul. One at a time, please.
Well, everybody can come in. But you're not understanding the point. Nobody let me speak. I'm making a valid point. On the outset, I said, I am all for catching the culprits and giving them punishment on the outset. However, I am just giving a sane point of view where we should not just be, anarchists and go and do this and that. Let's follow a procedure. Let's find a way forward where we can carry on with this. We have created a beautiful thing and the court is looking into it. Have some patience. Let's find out what's going to happen next week.
No, you see, if your ACSU unit, the ICC, way back told IPL 6 to be caution of betting. What did the BCCI do? This is the news. The ICC anti-corruption unit warned.
Yes, what did they do?
That
Nothing.
They to be betting in IPL 6.
Nothing.
They did nothing.
Answer is nothing.
So ACSU, if your ACSU is good enough, you don't need any court, you don't need any police. Your policing can stop it. You played the highest level of cricket. You know, if your own anti-corruption unit is capable of holding people, nobody dare do anything wrong. But the BCCI anti-corruption unit does not exist. They don't work
My
at all.
question tonight is simple,
because
gentlemen.
they know that corruption has to be promoted by the top people sitting there.
Gentlemen.
I may also add another dimension to the debate today.
Gentlemen, the BCCI, as some people say, is a kingdom by itself.
Rajesh Shukla was the chairman of the
And while in this kingdom of the BCCI, there are some loyal subjects.
Been brought into this book.
1 second. The BCCI, as they say, I'll just take half a second, is a kingdom by itself. And while in this kingdom, there are some loyal subjects in the court of the king who get the king's patronage, we must also talk about the suffering millions in that kingdom who also fall under the king. And what is their blame? What is their fault? Because they love the game of cricket. Now, my question tonight is, and my first caller lines are open tonight, my question is, what if, I have a big if, what if one of those players is a celebrity? I'll repeat my questions. What if one of those players has actually somewhere informally admitted that I do some betting? So he's talked the language that man, I don't know what that B-grade actor is whose name came up with Gurunath Meiyappan. Yes, Bindu Dara Singh. Right. Now, what if one of these players has been a stooge of a big shot player? Right? And what if there is a big shot player who also has a lot of clout? And what if a couple of players out there have been caught in a party organized by a big bookie? And what if that bookie also flew them around business class? What if all of this is true? After all of this, if one of these players or two of these players or three of these players also represent your country, Will you take it lying down? Which is why I asked tonight, 13 minus 4 is 9. 9 cricketers' names have not come out yet. Niranjan Sonde, first caller from Bengaluru, is a chartered accountant. What are you measuring up here, Mr. Sonde? Niranjan, good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Arnab, good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
You should keep your hand on your heart and say, hello, Mr. Arnab.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You are listening to me. Hello.
I am with you.
Yes. See, you should keep your hand on your heart and say, except the Supreme Court, nobody is very fair here. They are all respectively mafia gang. You will never get the justice. I recollect an incident when Sunil Gavaskar was abroad and the lockers were opened. And in his locker, a lot of foreign currency was found. Do you have any information regarding that as a senior journalist, Mr. Arnab?
Yes.
Is there any answer for that? Everything is today managed by the Supreme Court. Every now and then people are asking for SIT. Then what is that government for? What is that BCCI doing now?
Well, the BCCI has to answer to someone. Our next caller, Niranjan Sonde, your voice goes out loud and clear to people who matter. Narendra is calling from Tanzania, watching the Newshour tonight from Tanzania. He also appears to be a chartered accountant. We have a lot of chartered accountants calling in from the program, right from Bengaluru to Tanzania. Narendra, are you there? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm very well. Go ahead. What do you think?
I'm just thinking that someone is saying that team ban नहीं होनी चाहिए.
जी.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ अगर कोई एक्सीडेंट होता है तो पुलिस के घर को नहीं पकड़ेगा, क्या उस व्यक्ति को ही पकड़ेगा कि नो ही हैज टू बी गो फॉर बिहाइंड द जेल? इट शुड बी जब तक टीम पूरा बैन नहीं होगा तब तक ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा, क्योंकि एज ए हम प्रेस करते हैं महेंद्र सिंह धोनी इज अ गुड मैन और समन कोई है जो ऐसा कुछ कर रहा है, लेकिन जब आफ्टर 5 years और 2 months we will get the name of that.
जी देखिए हमारा ऐसा है नरेंद्र जी, मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ क्लैरिफिकेशन के तौर से, आप किसी का नाम ले, हमारे पास कोई प्रूफ नहीं है किसी व्यक्ति के खिलाफ, मगर ये बातें तो होती है किसी एक व्यक्ति के खिलाफ नहीं, कई व्यक्तियों के खिलाफ। और मैं जो सवाल आज पूछ रहा हूं वो एक तरह से मैं सामाजिक सवाल पूछ रहा हूं। आई एम आस्किंग अ सोशली रेलेवेंट क्वेश्चन, आई एम आस्किंग अ जेनेरिक क्वेश्चन, बट योर पॉइंट इज ऑल्सो वेरी राइट। व्हाई शुड द टीम्स नॉट बी एक्टेड ऑन? नरेंद्र जी, संजय हेगड़े जैसे लॉयर्स हैं जो ये लीगल पॉइंट करते हैं, संजय हेगड़े शुड आंसर यू। संजय हेगड़े, द रूल्स आर ऑल अगेंस्ट यू। आई एम सरप्राइज्ड द लॉयर गोज अगेंst the rules.
Okay, the answer is very simple. There's something. If you have a headache, you don't cut off your head.
That's not.
The answer is disproportionality. In law, you have punishment that fits the crime. What is it? Just because your son-in-law bet a few lakhs here or there, you go after the son-in-law, send him to jail, fine.
One second.
Mr. Srinivasan out.
One second. Krishnaswamy is taking on. One second, Krishnaswamy.
How many people should be sacrificed for your blood?
One at a time, Krishnaswamy. I know, one second, Krishnaswamy. Krishnaswamy first sitting right next to you, put his head in his hands as you spoke out there. Yes, please.
I can't believe I heard that.
Well, I didn't believe it either, but he said it.
That's the law. That's the law.
What law?
I just can't believe it. We'll soon have lawyers deciding whether it's a run out or not, whether it's a clean bowled or not.
Exactly.
Somebody is actually stumped a player or not.
Exactly.
And actually, we'll get rid of umpires.
Exactly.
Judges
We'll get rid of umpires.
At one point of time.
We'll bring in a lot of good lawyers who all know cricket. And believe me, Mr. Mudgal is a very excellent cricket follower. He follows the game.
Oh, yes, he is. I hope so.
Yes, I've played
He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's now, if there is something called the spirit of the game has been crushed here.
Of course.
Right from the top, it's been completely crushed.
Of course.
So I'm not asking for cricket to be banned.
Right.
I'm not asking IPL to be banned. I'm just saying take a breather, clean the rot, clean all the dirt, and then maybe a year down the line, you could still have something that you could go back to and watch with your kids and say, hey, that was great.
No, but you know what? If I take Sanjay Hegde's argument,
one second.
Who's taking it up? If I take Sanjay Hegde's argument, Himanshu Chaturvedi, if I take Sanjay Hegde's argument, what happens is nothing happens against CSK, and tomorrow somebody else's son-in-law, brother-in-law, nephew, niece, son, brother, brother's wife, anybody can get in there, do what they want, and then you can say, you know what, this little hanky-panky that my relatives did, that's all right. You can't hold hold the IPL, the team guilty, and let's just break up Section 441(11)(3) of the franchises agreement and put them in the dustbin, because Mr. Sanjay Hegde believes it's going to be an exaggeration if you implement the rules that IPL teams are bound by. Now, Mr. Sanjay Hegde, unfortunately, has not read the operational rules of the IPL. Mr. Sanjay Hegde has not read the regulations of the IPL. Mr. Sanjay Hegde does not know the clauses of the IPL regulations which the teams have been found guilty of violating.
How do you know what I know and what I don't know?
It appears you don't know.
Come on.
It appears you don't know. Come on, quote the rule.
I am quoting to you straightforward law, and I quite like my panelist here saying that everything will in the end being decided by lawyers. That is the unfortunate part of the game that everybody
You take a lawyer when you go to bat.
The Mudgal commission that you're talking about, two lawyers, one judge.
All right, let's go to the panelists.
So
one sec. We're going to go to the others. Go to the others not wanting to come in. Sumanth C Raman. Sumanth Raman.
I would respect
Sumanth Raman, please. Mr. Raman, one sec. Mr. Raman. Yeah, Mr. Raman.
If you ban the Indian team, answer that question. The same thing applies here. The same logic applies here. If two Indian players did this during an international match, would you ban the Indian team?
Okay, simple answer. Is any member of the Indian team... No, 1 second. Simple counter question to you. Is any member of the Indian team owned by a private company?
It's the same thing.
We're talking about owners.
Country owner.
Right,
No, it's not a question of private company. Technically, the BCCI has also...
Himanshu is taking him on. Himanshu versus Sumanth C Raman, or both on the screen, please. Himanshu.
You please answer this question. 3 Indian players did this during an international match. Shall we ban the Indian team?
That's ridiculous. Most ridiculous thing I've heard in a really long time.
Why is it ridiculous?
An Indian player in 1974.
Strangest.
Compare a country team to an IPL team.
It's the same thing.
Because IPL team is not a country team, please, for heaven's sake. And let me rebut Sanjay on one very clear thing. Suman, please allow me. Let me give it back to Sanjay. There is something
in a London
called
supermarket.
Criminal conspiracy.
Now, do you ban the Indian team for that?
If the father-in-law has allowed the son-in-law under his banner, under his protection to do something wrong, he is liable for 120B.
You can either
120B straight away.
Justice Mudgal,
and there is something like breach of trust.
That the police went after Meiyappan and left all the other numbers.
So, Mr. Srinivasan has committed a breach of trust to the Indian fans. A criminal case should be registered against
I have a counter question. I have a counter question for Sumanth C Raman.
Please punish him.
Sumanth C Raman, Mr. Raman, Mr. Raman.
Indian cricket.
Mr. Raman.
One man.
Mr. Raman, a minute, please. Can I say something to you, Mr. Raman?
A lot of other people to get away.
Mr. Raman, can I say something to you?
Yes.
You see, there are two things here, right? One is when you get caught in quicksand and you fall into quicksand and you die. The other is when you know there is quicksand, you walk towards it and you go into the quicksand and you want to die. That's called an act of suicide. Now, my question to you, Mr. Raman, is you are quickly slipping into what I can only call, the path of logic, of the suicide of logic. 1 second. Now I'll tell you why. Since you vigorously defend CSK, I want to ask you, what about Rajasthan Royals? 1 minute. Allow me. You listen to me. I heard you.
By the same token, I'm defending Rajasthan.
Arey Baba, hear me for a minute. The Supreme Court has gone ahead and named Raj Kundra. Now, Raj Kundra, besides being the husband of Shilpa Shetty, which he is known better for, is also the owner of Rajasthan Royals, right? The first report had stopped short of finding him guilty, unlike with Meiyappan, and the very fact that the Supreme Court has named him today indicates that he cannot escape responsibility. So what happens to the Rajasthan Royals? Save them also. Tomorrow, all owners can be indicted in many ways. All owners can be held guilty of breaching the rules, and all teams continue. What kind of logic is that? How much will you cheat the people?
Look,
come on, what corporate interests are you representing?
I am talking about the principle of the whole thing.
What principle? Every principle is violated.
There which says if any owner...
Let's open up some more callers.
It brings the team into disrepute, it can be banned. There is one owner who has now been declared a willful defaulter.
Sir, what are you saying? There is a rule 11.3.
So why, by the same token, is that not disrepute?
Okay, so my question is, I go back to the viewers here tonight. I used to think cricket has some ounce of credibility you need to have. After all, you expect some people to watch you. Some people to watch you. If you forsake your credibility.
Those who are guilty should be punished. But to say that everybody should close down the IPL,
Amitabh,
you shut it down, that is actually a lynch mob mentality.
1 second. Krishnaswamy and Shishir Hattangadi. Krishnaswamy.
Nobody is asking anybody to shut down IPL, for God's sake. No. Arnab, I'm not asking the IPL to be shut down. I'm just saying take a hiatus.
You've been asking for a breather all along. You've been saying take a breather, take a breather.
You're very good at speaking. But then, I'm not asking the IPL to be shut down.
Why can't you just
I'm just saying take a break.
Why can't you have
take a small break. Take a few months off.
Can I get a word in?
Delay the season by a few weeks, by a few months. Let the whole cleanup happen.
No, one second.
At least do that.
No, they don't
I'm not
care.
saying ban cricket. Tomorrow
you see,
Atul
Atul Wasan
said name all these people. Should we stop cricket?
One second. Shishir Hattangadi, Atul Wasan, Kishore Bhimani coming back to the debate. 1 second, Mr. Raman. Mr. Raman, 1 second. Mr. Raman, don't be like Mr. Raman. You're being like Mr. Srinivasan now. There are others also in this cricket board. 1 second. Now the question here is this, please. 1 second. The question here is this. Just be calm, think logically, don't be emotional, think about the emotions of the people involved as well. Now, you see, when a Supreme Court judge says, there is substantial evidence against all four before us, what does he mean? Substantial evidence. I don't know what this substantial evidence is. But will Mr. Sanjay Hegde dare to say tonight on Newshour that when a Supreme Court judge says there is substantial evidence that can be disregarded?
It said that
it's not teeny-weeny evidence.
The Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court said that there is material in this report against these four people.
Again, you don't know.
Before
you are wrong.
Court does anything,
good enough.
Before the Supreme Court does anything, is there anything that you have to say? Mr. X, Mr. Y, Mr. Z. These are the four names that are there in the report. Please, if you have anything to say, say it.
Sir,
that's all that has happened
today. I am quoting a Supreme Court judge saying, the opposing counsel, there is substantial evidence against all four before us. You are not informed of the case. Shishir Hattangadi coming to the debate. Kishore Bhimani. Amitabh is from Gurgaon, is an IT professional. I'm coming to him next. Shishir Hattangadi. Where do you think this is going to go now? Where do you think this is going to go now?
No, I just want to make 2 points. This is going to go to a case where, the four players or the four actors, so-called actors by the court, as pronounced by the court, are going to prepare the defense, and then the court is going to give them a verdict. It's very clear. I mean, the court did not announce their names for an invitation to a tea party. It was very clear that there was something that the court had to tell them. And secondly, Mr. Raman keeps talking about flouting rules and banning teams or not banning teams. You see, an Indian cricket team or BCCI cricket team comes under the ICC Code of Conduct. Here in the IPL, the teams come under the Governing Council bylaws. These are formulated by the BCCI and the IPL Governing Council. So if there is a law 11.63 that has been drafted in, it is only because they have believed that somewhere this could be some of the naughty boys.
Well,
obviously, if there is a flouting of the rules.
Okay, I have something to share tonight. I have something to share tonight.
Why aren't we telling the public of this country this?
I have something to share tonight.
The moment this is decided, the team automatically...
Share with me. 1 minute. A little aside.
Could be banned.
A little aside. Now, there are many people whose names are coming across informally. Right? Many people, some play for India, some don't play for India, some play for the IPL, and some of these players, one of these particular players recently told someone I know, watch the Newshour every night. Now, I really hope he's watching the Newshour tonight. So that I believe that in this case, Kishore Bhimani, there should be a case of voluntary disclosure. There has to be I demand voluntary disclosure tonight, Kishore Bhimani. I demand voluntary disclosure before we drag them out and have them named. 1 second, let me complete, Atul Wasan. The citadels of power in Indian cricket must break down, just as the citadels of corruption in politics broke down. Voluntary disclosure, Kishore Bhimani, good idea. You think some of these players should come out and say voluntary disclosure by the players and let them ask for forgiveness from the people of India?
I think the voluntary disclosure should have come from the boss, Mr. Srinivasan, first. That I have watched up everything.
Oh, yes.
I have parted ways with the morality of cricket, with the spirit of the game, and I am guilty, and please get me out first. Instead, he put a lot of adhesive, Fevicol on his chair, and he said, I will not be moved. And nobody could move him. That was the point. And the players are also saying, today it starts with the leadership. I would like to point out, somebody said said about the Indian cricket team should be banned if they are two big names. Absolutely not. Because why we are asking for a ban is because of the ownership that has behaved in a manner, used the team as betting on the horses. They made them feel like worse than horses. They have put money out, not 1 or 2 lakhs. It is huge sums of money, and in any case it is in contravention of all laws of human behavior. Now that is why they should be banned, because they have not only has he tried, instead of telling Meiyappan that I disown you and saying that I may retain him as my son-in-law, but I disown him as a cricketing person. He is part of the principle of the team, and now he is not from tomorrow. He did not do that. He said he's just an enthusiast. That is what was wrong, and that is why the team has been brought into disrepute.
Some of these players have been taking pictures with many politicians trying to get cozy in the power circuits of late. Tonight, this country would want to know whether we really want them to have voluntary disclosure. Have voluntary disclosure. Seek forgiveness from the people. Admit your mistakes. Because the names are going to come out. At some point of time, the 9 names will roll out.
As a lawyer, my consistent advice to everyone, never
names will come out. And I'm telling you, when the names, because the media is following the story, Atul Wasan, concerned citizens and cricket lovers are following the story. And when the skeletons come out, let me assure you, Mr. Wasan and everyone else, the skeletons will come tumbling out of every single cupboard. My last caller, Amitash from Gurgaon, IT professional. Amitash, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Arnab.
Yes.
Program going on by you guys. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, please.
Arnab, I just wanted to extend my complete support for Mr. Bhimani's point.
Yes.
And I completely agree that if this murky business is not cleared out sooner, then we are not going to progress as far as the English Premier League and other leagues have progressed for centuries together.
Yeah.
If we want to make it a credible organization and a credible sport, it has to extend for years. We are just into a few years down the line.
Yes,
and if we have to make it credible,
yes,
we have to do exactly what the English Premier League does. Or more.
Yeah.
And what I want to put across is that as soon as possible, as the result of the Supreme Court judgment comes out,
reveal the names.
Definitely the names should be revealed and
reveal the names, clean up the names. I know if there are big names, if there are starry names, if there are celeb names and celeb stooges names, reveal them all. Don't spare anyone. 13 minus 4 equals 9. The country demands 9 names be put out and voluntary disclosure by these people. Like when you default on taxes, you have an opportunity to come clean, pay extra taxes, seek forgiveness from the government of India. In this case, if you've defaulted, come clean, tell the people of India, I made a mistake, seek forgiveness, and then leave your verdict in the hands of the people who followed your cricket for a long time. If you cheated them, they won't spare you.
Arnab,
Pawan Dhingra, Delhi businessman. Arnab, yes, please, Pawan Dhingra.
Yeah, if you can hear me, sir.
Yes, I can hear you, Pawan.
Yeah, my question is to Mr. Atul Wasan.
Atul Wasan, question for you from Pawan.
Yeah, I'm amazed by his sentence, lynch mob. Now,
thank you.
I paid my good money to go and watch IPL games in Delhi. To watch these fixed matches. So where is my money? I want BCCI to refund all my money because all these matches have been fixed by all these administrators. So Mr. Wasan, please do not call us lynch mob.
Yeah, exactly.
We have paid good money.
Exactly.
To watch these matches which are cheating to us. The fans who
okay. Can I answer this now?
Because you called everyone anarchic lynch mobs. These are lovers of cricket. They are neither anarchic nor lynch mob.
Yeah, because, I'm constructive. I think we should... Yeah, okay, if you let me finish, I'll just say quickly something. I think the root cause of everything lies in in the way the board operates. Sycophants and yes men progress, and hence this kind of thing. And everybody, whenever something is wrong and something is underhand happening, everybody falls in line, and the former players, even the big legends of the game. Why is nobody talking about it. Why? Because just they are happy with some piecemeal offerings from the board. You know, if this thing can be kicked out,
okay, let me say it.
People and players with big reputations, big names, who have got credibility, can stand and question the operations of the board. But you know what happens is that everybody has to fall in line. Everybody toes the line.
One second. You want me to say it, Mr. Sunil Gavaskar? I want to know your position on this, on voluntary disclosure. Mr. Kapil Dev, I want to know your position on this. Mr. Ravi Shastri, I want to know your position on it. Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, who never speaks on these issues. Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, I want your position on it. Mr. Saurav Ganguly, I want your position on it. None of them speak. Do the heroes of Indian cricket speak?
Yeah, the point
do they open their mouth when it matters? No. They don't.
Why these people who are the people in the board carry so much power and all? Because everybody falls in line with them.
Because
and,
they all
nobody questions them.
Rahul Dravid, will he speak on this?
Aside. So the whole juggernaut carries on.
And will Anil Kumble speak on this?
So let's look at the larger picture.
Yes,
and people I heard.
Let's
take a breather.
No. I think there is a point. No. 1 second.
Let's take a breather.
You see. No. Krishnaswamy. Do Kumble. 1 second. Do Kumble, VVS Lakshman, Sunil Gavaskar, Ravi Shastri, Kapil Dev, Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, right?
Arnab,
do they speak on these issues? Do they ever take a position on anything when it matters?
Should we allow that to continue?
People look up to them.
Exactly.
Do they ever speak up? Have they spoken up for cricket once? Or do they only want to be part of the big cricketing establishment? That's the question tonight these cricketers must ask.
Continue in this rotten manner. There has to be a cleanup at some point of time. You have to take harsh decisions. You have to do something which might actually hurt many others. There might be collateral damage.
All right, so
you might still have some clean cricket.
You know what? I offer each. I ask you tonight. I've named some greats. Let us see. I let the people of India ask these people, ask these cricket legends, whenever you ever spoken up about corruption in cricket. And what are you scared of? What are the cricket greats of India scared of? Why does Sachin Tendulkar not talk about corruption in cricket? Why does Rahul Dravid not talk about it? Why does Anil Kumble not talk about it? Why does Sunil Gavaskar not talk about it? Why does Ravi Shastri not talk about it? These questions are being put, at least on the Newshour tonight.
Big sport, you know.
I'd like some of these greats. Atul Wasan.
Why do they wield
Atul Wasan. I want some of these greats to look within and break their silence. Nobody is an untouchable.
So you should thank me for bringing this up, isn't it?
Yes, I certainly thank you. I've taken a few names. Any one of them wants to come and talk about this issue on Newshour. I have an open platform for everyone. Sachin Tendulkar, you finished your book right now. Come and talk about the real stuff. Talk about what you saw, what you knew, and what you haven't spoken about. Thank you very much for joining me on the Newshour tonight.